The Portsmouth case. Before I can get into the Portsmouth case, I have to put in the details of things that happened prior to that case and some during that case that are very important that weren't already told. And when she comes back to try to get the oldest from her first ex-husband, after that, that's when she went to the Portsmouth court where the custody order was originally at. And that's when she put in a show cause claiming that she wanted to go get him. She has physical custody and that he pushed her, causing her physical harm. So when we go through the Portsmouth court case, it's her and him originally. I had researched that step parents have rights as well. Seeing that I have been in this boy's life technically since he was 1, and I had that conversation with his father, I went ahead and tried to apply for some type of custody as well, because I strongly believe that she was going to try to hurt me the same way she hurt him, which is through the child. So now the custody case consists of her, him, now me. When we finally got to court and everything was settled in that court case, him and her would have 50-50 custody, week on, week off. And I had what they call liberal visitation, which meant that I have rights to see him, but I don't have a set schedule. So after that was established, when he finished his last day with his dad for the week, he went to his mom. His mom had him for 24 hours, and sent a text message to his dad saying, "You won, you can have him. Just make sure he calls her from time to time." We're trying to figure out what's going on, what happened, why all of a sudden this happened after only having him for 1 day, and you just went to court saying that we were keeping him from you. So when we finally get him back and we asked him what's going on, he had let us know that she asked him more than once, "Who do you want to live with?" And he kept answering, "I don't know." He said about the 4th time when she asked him, "Who do you want to live with?" And he said, "I still don't know." She told him pack his things, he's going to his dad. So back to his dad he went. Me and him worked something out so I could see him on a regular. And that went on for 1 month. For a whole month, she didn't see him. She didn't really call him. He called her. I'll never forget one drop-off pickup, because where she comes to pick up the 2 from me in Portsmouth, and she should be leaving Portsmouth to go to Norfolk to pick up the oldest one. So I called him, let him know, like, "Yo, she's on the way. She just picked up my 2. So him and his dad are waiting, and she never shows up. And so oldest son calls her. He's like, "Hey, where you at? We're waiting for you." She said, "Oh, I didn't come get you because I had to work." So after he gets off the phone with her, he calls me crying, saying she lied. I'm like, "What are you talking about? She lied." She said she had to work. I'm like, "Well, dude, we don't know if she has to work or not. We ain't gonna just go ahead and say she's lying." He's like, "If she had to work, why did she get my brothers and not me?" At that point, all you can say is no, points were made. So you can't really just, all you can say is like, "I don't know." That's something you got to talk to her about. So, but for some reason, she set up the drop off and pickup times for both sets of kids at the same time in 2 different places. Meaning she's supposed to pick up the 2 from me at 9 a.m. in Portsmouth, then go pick up the oldest one in Norfolk at 9 a.m. She set it up. She agreed to that. So for a month, she didn't go get them. I had them, and there was times where she would come to pick up the other 2. The oldest one would be with me, and she would see him. So one day he just wanted to go talk to her, and he went over and talked to her. And then when he came back, to me. He's like, "She said she's gonna pick me up next weekend." I said, "That's cool." At that point, when she started getting him on a regular after not having him for a month, I suggested a way to find the 2 custody orders with the 2 I have with her, the one that she has with her first ex-husband, so that way the kids get to see everybody. I remember I asked her, "Hey, can we do it this way for the oldest one with his order?" And her exact words were, "No, you can only see him when his dad has them." And I'm like, "Well, that's not fair to me, his father, and me." I'm like, "If you just do it this way, it balanced out." And she just wasn't going for it. So when she said that, I was like, "All right, cool." I went back down to the courts and I just said, "Hey, I need an amendment to the custody order. All I want is, can we make a schedule? Can we give me a set schedule? Because she's already telling me I can't see him unless he's with his dad, and that's not fair." So when I went to go fill everything out, they're like, "Oh, there's no need. She already appealed it to the civil court." And I'm like, for what? She was appealing it so she can get full custody, not have 50-50. We're in circuit court, going through the 50-50. I have to take time out to say this. I know I don't have that much court experience or been, with a lot of different court things, but basing off the guardian ad litem I had in Suffolk, the guardian ad litem that was in Portsmouth is a piece of shit. She wanted a good guardian ad litem. In my opinion, that guardian ad litem that we had in Portsmouth was not doing anything in the best interest of the child. She was doing what was in the best interest of their mother. We had court on a Tuesday. We wouldn't hear from her on Monday about her doing her investigation. And we're like, yo, you're going to need more than a day to decipher everything because there was so much stuff that was going on. She felt she had it. She didn't. She didn't. And she was, to me, a terrible guardian ad litem. And we had let her know about, hey, this woman has issues with alcohol and weed. We have another court case that shows that. We have witnesses that shows that. We have video evidence that shows that. Apparently, all that went out the window because in her mind, it didn't matter. Mama needed full custody. I remember when we showed the video of when she threatened to kill the stepmother, and the mom, my kid's mother, flipped it and said she was aware the cameras were there, and that's what made her uncomfortable and caused her to react that way. The thing that pissed me off the most about that response was, if she knew the cameras were there, why did she file a police report saying he pushed her and dropped it when there was evidence showing he didn't touch her? That seemed to just go out the window. No one seemed to give a fuck about that. Even that judge up there even said, oh my goodness, she was so brave. Go get her son with everybody out there with their phones out recording. I was like, soon as I heard that shit, I started packing my shit up. It was a horrible case. It was just bad. And what ended up happening is the mom ended up getting full physical custody, and me and the dad got put on the schedule. But the way the schedule worked out, I got more time than his father. That went on for what? Maybe, I think that court date ended in August of 2021. By October of 2021, I think it was by October 2021, he was living with me full time. The thing that led him living with me was the fact of he kept asking questions to her, and she would answer. He would come back to me. I would just show him. If she said something about a conversation, I have all my text messages saved. I just showed him that section. Here's what was said. He'll read it. I would never tell him she's a liar. That's not true. I just say, here, read this, and you decipher it. And he would decipher. He'd go like, this is not what she said. Then he would go back to her. Then she would get mad and text me saying, why'd you show the text messages? I'm like, because you told him one thing, and I know what you're saying was a lie. So I just showed him what's really going on. So that continued to go on to the fact that he said he felt like he noticed lies that she was telling him, and that was getting on his nerves. And he had a conversation with her. She even said she was going to try not to lie to him anymore. And he said the next day she lied. So at that point, he just has negative feelings about his mom. I was getting him on a regular, and this before he moved in with me. I was getting him on a regular, and I remember one time I was dropping him off at her place for him to go to school. And I said, hey, this is your weekend with your mom. So I'm not going to come get you after school like I normally do, unless your mom says I can come get you. So it's supposed to be her weekend. I dropped him off, watched him walk up to her apartment. I'm going to work. Before I even made it out her neighborhood, I got a text from him saying, you can come get me after school. When I got him from school, I said, yo, what happened this morning for you to answer so quick? He said, as soon as I walked in, he said, it's your weekend with me. And she responded with, go over to your dad's house because that's where you want to be anyways. So he said, okay. And then after one, like I said, that kept happening. So he just like, why can't I just live there? And she said, fine, go over there. So she allowed him to live with me, but would never change the custody order, because if she changed the custody order, that means his dad has to get taken off child support. His dad gave me the okay to let him stay there because of the big thing was he has two brothers that he's been with since they were born. So his dad was like, I'm glad he's with you. I'm glad you're in his life. And all I want is my son to be happy. And I know being with his brothers makes him happy. So me and him had a conversation. I was like, I will never do anything to keep your child from you. As a matter of fact, He's one of the rare people that have a key to my house. Like me and him are damn near best friends. And it was crazy. Me and him co-parent way better than we did with her. So she never went to change the custody order. She wasn't. She wasn't. So that went on for a while until she moved out of Portsmouth and had to go to North Carolina. When she went to North Carolina, he went down to the courts to try to change the custody order for him to get full custody. And hopefully, with me still being included, I'll get some, get something, get some visitation or whatever, but I'll still be included in the custody order. When he did that, she showed back up. And we were in court, and I was sitting in the back just trying to maintain my composure because the judge for that case was that shitty guardian ad litem. And she even said, like, y'all seem familiar. I think I presided over y'all case. Now I was like, yeah, bitch, you definitely presided over the case. So she went ahead and I guess you could recused herself, and they had to get another judge. And um, as time went on, they had to go back. I think they have to. She moved back to Portsmouth so she could maintain her full custody status, even though she was allowing him to live with me. He was even going to school on the address based off my address, and I stayed in Suffolk. So she would never change it, and it just stayed that way until she died.